Awesome. Thanks so much, Christine. I really appreciate that. So we will have a short break during the middle of our session today. It is a fairly short session, so just that one break, but feel free to get up, move around if you need to, stretch, go get a drink, whatever you need to do to take care of yourself. And just to ground into being here today, I invite you, if you feel comfortable, to go ahead and just roll your shoulders back. Take a big deep breath and just let go of all the things that brought you here today to where you are now. Just let that go. You're welcome to close down the eyes if that feels comfortable for you. Inhale slowly and exhale, feeling all the way down to your feet. Inhale, filling your lungs with fresh air. Exhale out to your fingertips. And then just return to normal breathing, feeling centered and grounded. And when you're ready, you can go ahead and bring your attention back into our shared space together. Thank you. Okay, so now we will move on to our land acknowledgement. Who has participated in a land acknowledgement before? Just raise your hand on your screen if you've participated in one before. And who has not seen a land acknowledgement before? This might be your first time. Okay, great, good mix. Okay, so we do land acknowledgements in order to recognize the indigenous peoples who have lived on these lands throughout generations. Could we get a volunteer to read our land acknowledgement for us today? Susan, thank you.
In our work with diverse communities and as we ground into being here today, we acknowledge that in Southwest Colorado, we are occupying the stolen lands of Indigenous peoples. From the archaic early basket makers traced back to 7000 BCE to the ancestral Puebloans in 750 CE, to Ute Mountain Ute tribe and Southern Ute Indian tribe of today, we acknowledge that Indigenous peoples have been stewards of these lands throughout generations. The narratives of our nation's land have long been told from one dominant perspective without fully recognizing the people who live here before colonization and many who still live here today. Thank you for your respect in acknowledging the important history and culture rooted in this place as we move forward in our work together today.
Thank you so much, Susan. Appreciate that. And if you are interested in learning more about native land acknowledgements, there are 2 links up at the top of the slide that I encourage you to check out. And you can think about creating one for your own organization, perhaps as a way to acknowledge before we move into working together. And I'd also encourage you to recognize if there are any feelings that are coming up for you in this moment. And just to recognize that emotion, allow yourself to sit with that and simply be curious about your emotion. So moving on to slide 7, this is our agenda for today. Eventually I will stop the screen share, so we'll just have a Zoom and slides up next to each other. But our agenda for today will be what we just did, our grounding and acknowledgement. Then we'll orient to virtual meetings to get everyone on the same page, do a little welcome check-in, and then we'll dive into the interactive activities using Google Slides. We'll have a break, and then we'll use Google Docs as well. And then we'll finally wrap up and reflect. And we'll do a prize drawing at the end in the last 5 minutes. So this is our plan for today. So we'll go down to Zoom controls on slide 8. And Brigham, if we could launch the first poll now, that would be great. And then we'll launch the second poll right after that. So we have a quick little Zoom poll for y'all.
All righty, people are starting to weigh in. We have 15 people have weighed in. We'll give it just another 30 seconds to see if we can get the rest of you to share with us how you feel about your comfort level with Zoom. All right, we're going to wrap up the poll.
Great. So it looks like we have people that use Zoom a lot who are very comfortable. 12 of you said you're very comfortable with Zoom, and then 5 are somewhat comfortable. Nobody, this is their first Zoom meeting. You may be on the other side of the spectrum with being zoomed out a little bit from time to time. So this helps just know where you're at in terms of your comfort level. And then let's launch poll number 2 if we could, Brigham.
Sure. Here you go.
So what's your comfort level with having Zoom and an internet window like Google Slides up on your screen at the same time? Do you know how to do it on your own? Or is this something that you might need a few tips in? Or are you not comfortable? You have no idea what I'm talking about when I say this.
So it looks like everybody's weighed in. I'm going to end the polling and share the results. There you go.
Great, thanks. So we have a few people who are very comfortable. Most people are somewhat comfortable, want a few tips, and a couple of folks have no idea what I'm talking about, which is great, a good spread. Okay. So this is helpful just to know where you all are at with the Zoom. So if at any point you have a question, feel free to type that into the chat so we can get some help for you. And I will quickly go through some different helpful tips. And you also have access to these slides for your board meetings, for your staff meetings. You can make a copy of these slides for all of the how-tos if this will be helpful for other people who you work with so that you can give them a little mini training as well. So feel free to go up into File and Copy on your Google Slides and just make a copy of these slides and amend them to how you may need them. So I think most people know how to unmute and start their video. Feel free to start your video at any time because that helps create an engaging meeting. And then I would love for everyone to please rename yourself in Zoom. So you can do that either through the Participants tab or through the 3 little dots at the top of your video screen. And it will just be that rename. So rename yourself, please, with your pronouns and your closest town. So you can see that mine is Sandia, she, her, and Durango. I just typed into the chat because it's hard to see our full names in the little video things. And it's also fun sometimes to add an emoji to your name. So if you want to click on this link, you can add an emoji to your name. You have to do this every time you're in a Zoom meeting. It won't stay that way if you want to keep that is. So go ahead and rename yourself with your pronouns, your closest town, see where everybody is. And feel free to add an emoji.
All right, Sandy, I don't know how to add an emoji. How do you do that?
Okay, so the link is in the Zoom chat.
Got it.
Emojipedia.org. And you can find a fun emoji on there and then paste it into your rename.
Got it.
Isn't that fun?
Well, I haven't done it yet, so I'm going to wait. I'm going to reserve judgment.
Okay, let's see if people can do that. I'm going to try to. So this is a fun little play session with you all.
I did it.
I don't see it, Breakin'.
Oh, you probably have to, so you can see my whole thing.
Oh, I see. It might be at the end.
Yeah, it's at the end. But look, watch, I'm so good at this now.
Can you put it at the beginning of your name?
I can put it at the beginning.
Oh, nice. Oh, Susan's done it. She has like a snowboarder. Arlena has a fun little image. Nikki's got a donut. We got some smiley faces. Kent, Emily, Kristen. Good job, guys. So this is a fun way to set up breakout groups. If you want different breakout groups, they can have different emojis. If you want people to check in about just how they're feeling for the day or in a certain moment. If you want to distinguish between staff members and board members, this is a fun way to make it really visual. So I hope that you've enjoyed that. Could we get a volunteer to read through our helpful virtual meeting guidelines for us very quickly? Sean, thanks.
We've gone through, please rename yourself with your name, pronouns, and closest town, and adding an emoji. Be ready to participate and unmute. Mute when not speaking to limit background noise. Raise your hand, wave at the camera, use the blue hand in the participants panel. Be clear when you're done speaking. Use your vocal tone or I'm complete or I'm done. Reduce distractions for yourself. Put your devices out of reach. Keep video on if you are able. Be mindful of your airtime. We give wait time for processing. We will occasionally call on people. Look for a space in which to speak or use the chat panel. Use the chat panel to share ideas or ask questions. Curb the urge to click. This is a shared document, so changes impact your colleagues. We've seen that, haven't we, Sandia? And grab a squeeze ball or a fidget toy to occupy your fingers. And
Awesome.
use reactions to show the love. Take care of yourself as a whole person.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Sean. Let's give Sean some reactions here. So on your Zoom screen, share the love if you know how. We got some claps, some thumbs up, some hearts, some parties. Nice. Nice. This helps. So feel free to use these reactions at any point throughout our session today to keep it really fun and lively. And then what else have you found helpful? Do you have any other helpful virtual guidelines that you like to use with your groups? Anyone want to share? I know this is a pretty comprehensive list, but I would love to learn.
This is Adam from Crow Canyon. I found that sometimes when we're experiencing members of the meeting that are having low bandwidth, that turning off the video helps, even though it takes away from the meeting a bit.
Absolutely. Great tip. That is certainly a helpful thing, especially in rural areas. That's great. And then Emily shared in the chat, she's used Mentimeter. She's new to it, but find it's really great for interactivity. Absolutely. Yeah, Mentimeter is very cool. What else? What else have people done? I've got my little hacky sack that I'm playing with right here underneath the screen, but anything else people have found helpful? Okay, practicing beforehand and debriefing. Someone type that right into the slides for us. Perfect. Yeah, those things
I like when we can get in and annotate on a presentation as well, marking things that are important, stuff like that.
Love it, Nikki. Well, thanks for the segue. That's exactly what we're going to do now. So please annotate one virtual meeting guideline that you want to focus on most today. So if you're curious how to do annotate, if you know how to do it, go ahead and just stamp one of these guidelines that you really want to practice today on the share screen. If you're new to annotate, go to slide 10 of our slides, and I'll also advance it on our share screen here. And you can go to view options at the top of your Zoom. Let me do the little pointer thing. So the view options, click down on this little down arrow to annotate, and then you can add stamps. So like a heart. Oh yeah, so I guess what I'll have to do is I'm going to go back to the other slide here so that you can annotate. Okay, so we have a lot of people saying they may have to reduce some distractions for themselves today, put that device somewhere else, keep their video on. Raise your hand on your screen, just wave at me if you need help finding the annotate feature. Sean, Kent, okay. So it is on slide 10 of the Google Slides, and it is at the top of your Zoom screen. you go up to View Options and then click down to Annotate. And it looks like this. View Options, Annotate, and then you can add stamps or arrows. You can draw. How is that going, Kent and Sean?
I don't get it until I full screen Zoom.
Oh, okay.
And when I full screen Zoom, I lose the Google Slides.
Oh,
And
interesting.
I have them from your screen share, but I don't have access to them.
Do you need the link in the chat?
No, as soon as I shrink Zoom, I can do that.
Okay, but then
But
you just don't see the
now-
view options.
Okay, now I have Annotate again. Okay, I'm good.
Okay, cool. All right, great job, everyone. Let's give each other a little round of applause. Very nice. Okay, let me get rid of my pointer here. So many things going on. Okay. And then I've got way too many different things with my two screens. So how do I now clear the Annotate?
You go back to annotate, the annotate bar.
Ah,
And there's a trash can that says clear.
clear. Thanks, y'all.
Beautiful.
Thanks, y'all. Okay, great. Appreciate it. So, great example of co-creation and learning together. So we're playing together, help me out, help each other out as we play. So let's go on to the Zoom participants guide. This is also in your slides here. And I would encourage you to download this document so you can share it with board members, staff members. It has a lot of great how-tos. So if you're planning a virtual retreat or a big meeting and people need a little bit of extra hand-holding, you all seem pretty adept at Zoom. And this has some great walkthroughs. So you can download that straight from the link in the slides. And I will also post this in the chat for you so you can download it from the chat. Give me a second and I will post this right in here for you. A little while because it's kind of big, but this is a very helpful guide provided by the TOP network, which is a group of facilitators that I'm a part of. So you guys are pretty adept at the nonverbals. And this is the side-by-side mode that you might have going on right now in order to see the shared screen. And then once we get out of the shared screen, it would be great to have a split view. So in this yellow box that's highlighted, you can see there's a split view of Zoom on half the screen and internet browser on the other half of the screen. And that's what you will be wanting to do in just a second. This is a great video that you can send out to your staff and board members in advance about how to view Zoom and a Google Slides up on their computer at the same time. It's using a personal computer, not a Mac, but this is from a friend and facilitator, Terry Phillips, and it's a really helpful little video. So you can watch that and download it from Zoom as well. And then if you want to add annotate, breakouts, or polls to your own meetings, you can turn on those settings in your Zoom account, which I imagine a lot of people have. Who's already turned on those settings? Give me a little thumbs up in your screen. And then who thinks they might need to check that out? Wave at me if you're like, I think I might need to check that out a little bit. So these are free settings that you can turn on your Zoom account. They just need to be turned on and then they'll be added to your toolbar. Okay, and then this slide 17 is a great option for how people can be logged in and see things on two devices as well. You could have Zoom on your phone and the Google Docs up on your computer, two screens, like I have two screens going. Adam was sharing about turning off the video if you're in a rural area with poor internet connection can be helpful, but sometimes people can do that on their phone. So those are just some different options for people to engage virtually. Okay, now orienting to Google Slides really quick, since we will be stopping the screen share here in a minute. So please open up the Google Slides if you haven't already. I'll post that again into the chat. And you can scroll between the slides right here with this little bar, and you'll see the small little templates of the slides along the left-hand side, and then use the scroll bar on the bottom and the scroll bar on the left and the right to see things that are off of the slide itself. You can also insert images using these two features here. All right. So now that we've been going for about half an hour, I would like us to practice the 20-20-20 rule. So for every 20 minutes that you're staring at a screen, it's a great idea to look away off your screen at something 20 feet away for about 20 seconds. So go ahead, stand up, look out a window, stretch, whatever you need to do just to give your eyes a rest.
So I'm in the Smiley and there's a dance class going on outside. So I had something really fun to look at.
Oh my gosh, that's so fun. Usually my neighbor's chickens are outside my window, but I don't see them out there today. It might be a little too cold. Okay, so let's get rid of the screen share so that we can all see each other. This is much better, at least for me. And we will have Zoom up on half your screen and Google Slides up on half your screen, because we'll be using them simultaneously now as we go forward. So we are on slide 20. Go ahead and scroll down to slide 20 on your Google Slides. And then check in on slides 21 through 23. You can type into the slides. It is live and will change for everybody. Nikki. Question. I'll give you a second to find your unmute.
Yeah. How do Mac people tile so we're side by side? I missed that.
Yeah, so up in the top left corner of Zoom, there should be a red, yellow, green button, and you can minimize that. There's also tile window to the left of the screen or the right of the screen, and you can click that.
Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah, for sure. And then you can also drag the little arrows on the sides to make them smaller or larger. The sides of your Zoom window or the sides of your internet window. Any other questions about orienting and setting up your space?
Sandia, I just had a quick tip I was noticing for myself. I'm working on a small laptop screen that when I hide non-video participants, it squishes down the size of the Zoom. Like I went from having a bunch of squares that I couldn't see all at the same time as the others, and then hid the non-videos, and it fit better.
Awesome. Great. Thanks, Jess. That's a great tip. Cool. So folks,
where's that option to do that, Jessica?
If you click on somebody who does not have a video on their three dots, then you can hit hide non-video participants.
Okay, we got a thumbs up from Nikki. Okay, folks are filling in slide 21 and 22. I don't know why all of the entries on 21 are underlined. Funny things that you find out when people actually start using your stuff, right? Okay, here we go. So feel free to scroll through after you have entered your information and look at what other people are hoping to learn or experience today. We still have some room on slide 23. you need to fill anything in. Tricks to impress my friends. Bells and whistles, making it fun and interactive. Inspiration. Proficiency. Excitement. Dynamic. Great. Okay, when you are complete there, you can go down to slide 24 and fill in a little sticky note of what can you let go of to be present here today? What can you let go of on slide 24?
Oh my God.
How is that? How are the stickies going for y'all? Anyone need help?
Sandia, I can't see what anyone else is typing. I wonder if it's just my own internet connection. Does everybody else see other people typing stickies? They're all blank for me.
So Jessica, initially when I did the copy, mine went to the copy, so I didn't see anybody else's stuff, and then I had to
bet
go
I'm on
to the original.
I bet I'm on the copy. Thank you so much.
You bet.
How did you get the link to the copy, Nikki? Oh, it was because I encouraged you to make a copy and then you were still on. I see. Okay, that was it, Jess, wasn't it? Okay, co-creation, love it. Thank you for helping each other. Okay, so we are on slide 24 of the original that we're all looking at. What can people let go of? It's cold in my office. The to-do list, the office closing, large end of your to-do list, appeal letters, all the tasks, irritation, yep, Slack notifications, deadlines, worrying about the world. Yeah, this is a lot. And I hope that you are able to breathe, let go, and just enjoy this little bit of time that we have together in between all of the rest of everything. So we are now going to go into breakouts, and your instructions are on slide 25. You'll just say hi, introduce yourself, briefly share what you hope to learn or experience today, and then what you can let go of to be present here today. So make sure that everyone has time to share. You'll just have about 4 minutes. You'll have 3 to 4 participants per room. So it's going to be pretty fast. And hopefully you will have the opportunity to meet some different folks. Brigham and Tracy, can I send you into breakouts as well?
Sure.
Okay, great. All right, so there's nothing to type. You're just sharing with each other, and you can practice tossing the beach ball. So I will do that quickly. So I'll model it. Hi, my name is Sandia. I am hoping to learn from the wisdom of the group, and I can let go of how cold I'm feeling in my home office right now. And I will pass it to Rose.
Oh.
Catch the ball, Rose. Here it comes.
Oh, I got it. I can't see you, but I have it. Are we
Okay,
already
so-
in a, oh, we're not in a
So you're
break.
not in a room, so I'm just demoing it. So once you go into breakouts, you can pass the beach ball to each other within your small breakout. Okay, so each person will answer all 3 questions at once, and you'll have about 4 minutes together for your 3 or 4 people. So let me just do that.
Where the wind keeps blowing our blues away.
Welcome back, everybody. How was your breakout? Did you have fun with your buddies? Did you get to meet some new people? They're randomly generated, but as I was scrolling through, it looked like people from lots of different communities were in the same groups, which was pretty fun. So great, awesome. Well, we will be going now into another breakout immediately. And in this breakout, the instructions are on slide 26. And it's a little postcard game. So when I'm doing my in-person retreats, I have a stack of postcards. Here, I'll pull them out on my desk here, where people can choose a different postcard that resonates with them, and they can share something either as like a little icebreaker activity or as a way to go deeper into strategic planning or visioning, talking about these different postcards. And we have created that for you digitally. So on slide 26, your instructions in your group will be to look at the images on your group slide. And remember, the breakout room number is at the top of your Zoom screen. So that will be the reminder to you of what room you're in. And think about which picture reminds you of a time when you stretched your creativity to do something in a new way. I imagine many of you have done some very innovative, experimental things this year as a result of the current reality. And so think about a picture either from this year or from any time in your life where you were stretched to do things in a new way. And you are going to move the sticky note onto the image of your choice. So follow me down to slide 27. And I will demonstrate that for you. So don't move anybody else's sticky notes, but just to demonstrate, I will take one and I will move it onto a picture, and then I will type my initials there so that my group knows which picture I have claimed. And let's try to just have one picture per person. Okay, so we have 4 different groups here. And then, so you will take a moment to pick your picture, and then you will share that short story with everyone in your group. Make sure everyone has time to share. And then choose one person who will share their story with the full group when we come back from our breakout. Does that make sense? So you'll just share one story with our full group. So let me create our breakouts really quick. So you will have 4 to 5 people in your room, and you'll just have, I'll give you 6 minutes. 6 minutes for everybody to be able to share. So it's going to be very brief. And remember, your breakout room number will be on the top of your Zoom. Here you go. Folks are having fun. Vanjie's got a little virtual mask on. Friggins got a fun old TV frame. You guys are so creative. Awesome. Do we have everybody back? It looks like most people are back. Did you have enough time to get through everyone's quick stories? No, yes, a few yeses, a few nos. A few people were cut off, I imagine. Well, let's quickly hear from each of the groups. You can either share one story. Oh, that's fun, Nikki. One story that was already heard in your group, or one of the people that did not have a chance to share could also share their story. So let's start with group 1. Let's start with group 1 on slide 27. These were Adam, Nikki, Sean, Christine, and Vanjie. Who would like to share?
It's the 2020 phrase of the year. Oh, you're muted. We had a lovely share session, and it sounds like we've all got some cool things going on. And I was voluntold to share mine, which is I adopted a new permaculture practice. I chose the food slide because in my spare time, I work with my wife to produce organic vegetables and produce and pasture. And a new permaculture practice would be, if anyone's familiar with swales, it's a positive piece of land that will trap some moisture so that the water can permeate into the soil. And instead of using a lot of diesel fuel to move earth, there's a way that you can just use a plow. And I try not to till, but you can use the plow to move the soil to the side and then throw logs in the center and then cover it back up. And that'll make a raised portion of earth that will benefit your microbes and your soil, and your future generations of soil living creatures will appreciate that.
Very cool. Let's give Adam some snaps. Group 1, thank you so much. And let's hear from Group 2. What was another time when you stretched your creativity? Group 2 was Della, Kay, Kristen, Susan, and Tracy. You're on slide 28. Della or Susan?
We didn't have a chance but to go through 2 stories. Is the group okay with me sharing? Okay, I thought that was the last thing before we blew back. So I chose this slide in the lower left-hand corner because it reminded me of New Orleans Jazz Fest. I went there in 2010 to see Pearl Jam. And if you haven't been to Jazz Fest, it has 15 different stages. At the time I was living in Denver, so I was seeing a lot of music at Red Rocks, and they have a bunch of different venues there in Boulder. And so I got there, and there was a stage, the gospel stage, where it had like 150, 200 different people just singing gospel. And I didn't think that I would enjoy gospel, but it was actually one of my favorite stages, and that along with other stages that like a washboard stage where they were playing, you know, fiddles and washboards. And so I went there to see Pearl Jam, and it was actually these other stages that were my favorite part of the festival.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Susan, and Group 2. And let's hear from Group 3 about a story that relates to a time when you were stretched creatively. So slide 29. Group 3 was Emily, Jessica, Kristen, and Sarah.
I think we decided that a couple of people who didn't share a story would jump in here. So Kristen, do you want to share? Or I can.
Sure, I'll share.
Great.
Yeah, I chose the gospel choir picture too, because it's just, I love herding wildcats, if that's a phrase you're familiar with. And it reminds me of leading groups of people that don't know each other towards a goal to try to accomplish something beautiful. And right now I'm involved with a new small group. 2 of us have met 2 times. The other person has met 1 time with us. Tonight's our 3rd meeting. So it's just an amazing challenge to work with people to create something beautiful when you don't know each other, and you have to just work out how do we roll, how do we talk with each other, what are our guidelines, what are our safety nets. So yeah, that's why I chose that one.
Very nice. Love it. Thank you, Kristen. And let's hear from our last group, Group 4 on slide 30. Rose, Brigham, Kent, and Arlena.
Well, they told me that I was going to go. So, anyway, I picked the one up here in the right up at the top. The hospital looking folks, because I was a candy striper when I was a kid, and I just really felt like that really stretched me. But I loved reading letters to people who were in the hospital, or delivering flowers and taking the cart around so that they could get a candy bar or whatever. Just really thought that was a great thing.
That's wonderful. Awesome. Give it up for Group 4. Very nice. Okay, so let's do a quick debrief together on slide 31. Did you see any similar themes coming up in your breakouts about creativity, innovation, flexibility? Just consider that for a second. Think about your story and your other group members' stories. You see any similar themes arising there around stretching yourself to be creative in the moment? And if you want to share anything, feel free to unmute and just popcorn style, share a thought.
One thing in our group was just around helping others.
Yeah.
Our group kind of wasn't inspired by any of the images.
I might have to switch them up then. Sorry to hear that. What group was that, Susan? Room 2?
2.
Okay.
I guess that was the only comment.
Thanks for the honest feedback. Yeah, it's good to know. Anybody else? Any similar themes that were arising in the different stories around stretching yourself and being creative? And then how might this relate to our workshop today? Stretching yourself and being creative. How does that relate to what we're doing here with Don't Be a Zoom Zombie, learning some new tips and tricks? Angie?
Oh, sorry.
No, I was going to call on you since you unmuted.
Oh, I thought you said Nikki. So our group, 3 of the 4 of us were really talking about stretching in this new reality. And so this just helps us do that without that face-to-face interaction and trying to make it as engaging as we possibly can.
Thank you. Sarah.
Sure, yeah, it seems like they're just that, making lemonade out of lemons, right? Like, so anytime we're faced with these new technologies, new directions, how can we create meaningful communication for people in this moment, and just leaning into that, and as opposed to sort of rejecting it, right? Like, so I think it really, everyone's being impacted by it differently, and I think that therein lies the opportunities for having those types of brainstorms and creative solutions, and really stretching. One of the quotes that we often work with is our reach exceeds our grasp, right? So constantly trying to exceed our grasp in new and different ways.
Beautifully said. Very nice. Thanks so much, Sarah. Okay, and we're going to go on a break in just a couple of minutes here. But before we do, I want to orient you to our next activity so that you can be thinking about it while you are on break. And we'll share a couple ideas before we split off. So go to slide 32, if you would, please. And we'll be thinking about, first, we'll do a couple verbal shares here together as a group. Then you'll have time to individually brainstorm, and then some time in small groups to think about these 3 questions on slide 32. So what have you experienced today that you might replicate or modify for your own meetings or retreats? How do you build welcoming and interactive environment in your in-person meetings and retreats? And thereby, how can you build these welcoming interactive environments in virtual meetings and retreats? So what are some things that you could take from what we've learned so far and modify? What do you already do, either in person or virtually? And then what would be your next stretch area? Where can you go with this? So let's hear a couple of verbal ideas for the first question before we split off onto break. Brigham?
One of the things that I've experienced today that I can see that I might use in a future meeting is the postcard game. I would probably restructure it for a board retreat, asking questions about what do these visuals inspire you to be a better board member kind of thing, but I like the concept.
Lovely. Yeah, you can really have any question in there. You can put any question and it pretty much works.
Yeah.
A story from your childhood, your vision for the organization's future, da 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 da. You can really use that for any kind of activity. Thanks, Brigham. Christine.
I love the check-in where it's just writing your name and something that you maybe would have shared out loud, because especially when coronavirus times are like this, sometimes our check-ins can get really long, and someone else said, you just don't want to be on Zoom for forever. So I think it's like a really good way to like be like, I honor your check-in, and we're going to also be efficient about it. So I like that a lot.
Thanks, Christine. Looks like that resonates with Emily as well. Let's
Yeah,
hear.
may I add to that?
Yes.
So I totally agree, Christine. I really like that aspect of Zoom meetings or any kind of other meetings. And I also really appreciated the question about what do I need to do to be here and be present? Because throughout, after answering that question, I keep reminding myself like, okay, I need to not think about deadlines. I need to not think about whatever else, and stay focused on what's in front of me. So I also appreciated that question. Kind of set like created a mindset and a focus. Yeah, so thank you.
Thank you. Kristen, did you have something to share?
Yeah, I had never used the Google Slides on a Zoom meeting, and I really appreciated that tool learning and just again, like everyone able to type in and seeing the same document. I think sometimes things can get lost on chat when you're like, put in chat how you're feeling. And so I think I love that idea. Thank you.
Great, love it. Nikki, did you have something to share?
One thing that we kept going when we went to our second breakout group is we went ahead and kept throwing the beach ball to each other, because I think what a lot of times is the next person doesn't know when it's okay to speak. And I know like in our staff meetings for the Advocacy Center, it's always Rose calling on the next person. And it is really nice to have a good pass off to somebody else and it not be the person running the meeting to do that pass off.
Nice. So that's like the talking stick that you're passing between people, and it's it can just pop into your hands so easily, right?
And I catch a lot better virtually than I do in person, so that was really nice too.
Nice, awesome. Well, we are going to go on a 5-minute break here and be thinking about these 3 questions, because as soon as we come back, we'll do a little bit of individual brainstorm time. So please be back at 1:11. And you can turn off your video. I'll be playing some music and we'll be back at 1:11 and then wrap up our session here.
I just downloaded it this morning, so it's a new toy. And then by your camera in the bottom left hand of your screen, the up arrow next to the camera, you click on that and it will say choose video filter. And then you have a whole bunch of different fun things that you can do.
Nice, Adam. Oh, nice nose, Vanjie.
Thanks. The ears are
too. Look at Brigham and Rose. That's great, guys. Kay, did you figure that out? Does that make sense?
Yes, but I need to update to the latest version.
Yep.
I'll do that directly after this meeting, of course.
Yeah. And then you'll have more reactions too. You'll have a little party reaction and different things like that. You can also change the skin tone of your reactions if you like. So that's a fun thing. What, Kent, do you have something going? Oh, nice shades, Adam. Everyone's trying so many fun things. It sort of looks like you have something on your head, Kev, but I can't tell what it is.
It's lost in translation. It says loading.
Loading. Gotcha. That's awesome. Okay, well, we are going to take a couple of minutes here just to brainstorm for yourself on those 3 questions. We're on slide 33 of our Google Slides. And so just take out a piece of paper and a pen and think about what have you experienced so far today that you might replicate or modify in your own meetings or retreats? How do you build welcoming and interactive environments for your in-person meetings? And how might you build these welcoming interactive environments virtually? So take a couple minutes just to ponder those 3 questions. And I will share some other little tunes with you. Okay, go ahead and start wrapping up your individual brainstorm. And you will be sharing some of these ideas with folks in your group as much as you have time for. It's going to be a pretty quick breakout. You will be with 3 or 4 people in a small breakout, and your instructions are on slide 35. Slide 35. So pick one scribe, or a couple people can be typing into the Google Slides, whichever you prefer. And then go through answering these 3 questions as a group. So you have space on your slides for each of those 3 questions. And just get a couple of ideas down for each one. You don't have to fill up your entire slide, but at least a few ideas down for each one. And you're going to have just 5 minutes with your group as we're wrapping up here. So once again, your group number will be at the top of your Zoom screen. Welcome back to the party, y'all. It's good to have everybody back. I am sure that I did not give you enough time in your breakouts to complete all 3 of those questions, right? It was pretty rapid fire. But I hope that you had some good discussion with folks in your breakouts about some of the things. You have access to these slides, so you can start looking through the different groups' ideas. I was scanning through, it looked like there were a lot of similar things and some different things that people were calling out about what they want to do next in their own virtual meetings. So these are some great ideas that everyone has come up with here. We're going to start wrapping up. So please follow me down to slide 42 and just type one immediate next step that you can take based off of this workshop. What can you do next? So type a sticky note into slide 42. We want to make sure that we get to that prize drawing for you all as well. Regan's going to get our prize drawing going for us. And I also want to encourage you all to sign up right here, right now for the next workshop with the Community Foundation and Something to Chew On series, which is on December 1st on strategic planning during uncertain times. So I have the privilege of offering this workshop on December 1st. Would love to see you all again. Is the next slide, slide 43. So you can just go ahead and register right now.
While you're doing that, while you're filling out your Post-it notes, and while you are registering for the December 1st webinar called Something to Chew On and Strategic Planning, Tracy is going to pick 2 participants to win a free 1-hour consultation with Sandia. And I sure hope our name is in there.
You can see the hat if
That
I
would
put it
be
over here.
fun.
It'll be like
put it in
magic.
front. There you go.
They're really in a hat.
They are. Wow, nicely done.
Must be present to win. So if they left us, you guys have to help me find. Is Christine Bryce Nelson still here?
There she is.
Free 1
Awesome,
hour with
Christine.
Sandia. And one more winner is Kristen Pesca. Are you still here?
She is.
Kristen.
All right.
All right. I look forward to working with both of you. This will be so fun. Oh, nice hat, Tracy.
Thank you.
Great. So you will email those folks and connect us? Is that how that works?
No.
Okay, great. And in our last final minutes here, we would love to have you complete a very quick feedback survey. It is on slide 44. You can click on the link on that slide and I will also drop it into the chat for you. Would love to learn how I can continue to improve and make this better for next time. So this is just a very quick survey. If you don't mind filling that out for us. I'll post it here in the chat. And then we didn't have time to go into Google Docs. I wasn't thinking we would probably have time, but if you want to check it out, I've created a Google Doc that you can use for meetings, for retreats. It's on slide 45. You can create a copy of those templates, either the clean template of this Google Slides or of the Google document, and that is on slide 45. So you can click on those blue links. Those are yours to use. Do whatever you want with them. And we have lots of additional resources on slide 46. Lots of great tips. And if you have any other questions or final worries, the very last slide on slide 47. If you have one question, or you can type it into the chat too. I'm happy to hang out for a couple of minutes and help anyone if you had one lingering question that you just would love to get answered on the spot. So I want to thank you all for a really engaging session. It was so fun to play with you all today, and I hope you enjoy the lovely afternoon out there. Bregan, anything else?
I think that wraps it up. Thank you so much for everybody for coming. Spread the word. I think that after today, you guys really see all the great work that Sandia brought to this, all the preparation, and her next one's going to be even better. And so you guys make sure we have 50 people on here. I know people are stressed, but this can really help give you tools to move forward instead of swirling in frustration and wondering what's going on, how to do something. I really want to say thank you to Sandia and thank you for all of you for being here. And it's 1:28, so we did it. I mean, I saw what Sandia was proposing. I was like, how are we going to get all that done? But you did a great job.
Thanks, Bregan. Yeah, I always try to cram in too much and need to slim it down a little bit so we can go deeper into each of the activities. I just want to do so much with you all. Any final words? Anyone's welcome to unmute and just share a final thought or word as we're closing out here, how you're leaving the session today. How are you leaving the session today?
I'm leaving inspired to do a lot more, which is going to be a lot more work on my part, but I think it's going to be worth it to get the engagement I'm looking for and hoping for.
Yeah, I feel the same way, Brigham. I was talking to my staff this morning about wanting to make sure that we are the best Zoom participants of all nonprofits in the world. So that's what we're doing, is we're learning to be the best Zoom participants.
And hosts probably too. You probably host some of your own meetings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else? Final words? Final questions? A little anxious? I'll let you know, it is some work to create Google Slides for sure. The Google Docs are maybe a little bit faster. On slide 44, you can see that I've used a template through Slides Go. I'll type that into the chat. They have some beautiful templates that really add a lot of bursts of color and inspiration. So lots of school teachers use them, nonprofits, professionals. So SlidesGo is certainly something I would recommend. Well, thank you all so much. We are at 1:30. I'll stay on for a few minutes, and everyone else have a lovely afternoon and hope to see you December 1st. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Cynthia. That's great.
Thank you. Wonderful.
Thanks, Kay.
Thanks. Great to meet everyone.